so they hate. They don't want to see me shut it down, but I'm on the case. My enemies.
It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Good evening, sports fans. This is 2K Sports. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith. Our game tonight featuring the Cavaliers as they
Welcome, everyone, to the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan with Greg Anthony and Doris Burke. Also joining us from the sidelines, David Aldridge. So for the Mavericks, their last game, a loss to the Celtics. And they were still in that one right up to the end, guys, but lost by a couple of buckets.
Yeah, their last outing was a rough one. Have to be careful of falling in love with that three.
Right, exactly, Greg. When the shots from the perimeter are not falling, I think you've got to go take it inside. It's as simple as that. They never altered their game plan, and it resulted in a loss.
Now a look at Dallas's starting lineup. Lauri Markkanen is out there with Whiteside. Then there's Emmanuel Mudiay. Then there's Kent Bazemore. And it's George in at the three, the small forward. And it's Thompson with the ball. He'll bring it up for the Cavaliers.
And they just had it going from deep. Plus, they were efficient about it.
I thought, Greg, masterful ball movement and shooting for them that night. They were draining every three in sight.
Both of tonight's teams, Doris, dominance, outstanding rebounding. This could be one of the more physical matchups of the year.
And think about rebounding, particularly on the offensive glass, has been a little bit devalued in the NBA. These are two teams that actually put stock and faith in the ability to get more possessions and therefore greater opportunities to win the game. I'm fascinated by this matchup. It's something we don't see too often in today's NBA. Which team exerts its influence to a greater degree on the window? Can't wait.
I'm with you.
And he knows how to make good use of his size in that low block. And Gasol's inside game is very refined. There's a smoothness to how he approaches it.
Now here's Mudiay. Markkanen down low. Guarded by Valanciunas. Just 5 to shoot. Bazemore for 3. Good on the triple. Bazemore's got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. Okay, well, let's go down to David Aldridge for a report from the sideline.
Well, I did speak with Fred Hoiberg. He said even though this was their first meeting of the year, he did not expect there to be a feeling out period between these teams. He said, we have a group of guys who can score and do it in a hurry. We're going to go right at them and test their defense early on. Looks like they're in attack mode. Kevin, back to you.
All right, thanks for the report, David. So it's all about getting their offense going early on.
And I think that's the right call, guys. Get that rhythm established at the offensive end as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's an important thing for an offensive-minded team to do. You have got to set the tone with a level of aggression on the offensive end.
Over to the left wing. 5 on the clock. Ball, the pass to Young.
And the story here, Kevin, early on is how well they've shot the basketball.
I think when you talk about the Dallas Mavericks, it's not hard to think about the ownership. Driven, intelligent, committed, and the team has embodied those traits.
And that was a real quick comeback there. Both sides showing some range.
Well, both teams are pulling the trigger right now, showing great confidence from behind that arc.
Gasol kicks the ball. The kick out to Young. Good on the three-point shot.
You have to guard Young tight. You got to know he's thinking of shooting as soon as the ball hits his hands.
George against Gasol. Three-pointer, Markkanen. Thompson with the rebound. The Cavaliers leading by 6. It's Young on the wing. And we're just over 3.5 minutes into the first quarter. George against Gasol. George finds Mudiay. Some nice passing here by Dallas. On the wing, George. Nice D from Valanciunas.
That's what we're talking about in terms of the activity level defensively. You got to protect the rim.
And that does it for the first quarter. Cavaliers ahead. They're up by 6. The second quarter coming up right after this break, so don't go anywhere. And for those of you just tuning in, the second quarter of action is where we're at right now. And from what we've seen from the Cavaliers, what do you guys see?
Tough defense throughout that first period, and it's really paying dividends.
Well, I think there's a level of physicality with them right now and not allowing the opponent to feel comfortable getting into their heads just a bit.
Jonas Valanciunas is out there with Thompson. And it's Young, and it's Marc Gasol, and it's Ball in at the point guard. And for Dallas, they've got Whiteside. Paul George is out there with Markkanen. Then it's Moutier, and it's Bazemore at shooting guard. And for the Cavaliers, they've got Tristan Thompson. Young is out there with Ball. Then there's Jonas Valanciunas, and it's Gasol at the small forward position. The second effort, and it's laid in by Whiteside. Whiteside's got his second basket.
Yeah, and the presence of Whiteside in the paint, really unreal. He is a dominant figure down low. Great work to grab that second chance opportunity.
Young left side. And he's good on the 3-ball.
Their third three-pointer in a row.
And here's George. He'll bring it up for the Dallas Mavericks. Trailing by 5. This their first chance this season playing the Cavaliers to the left side wing. Here's Moutier. And the rejection by Valanciunas.
Well, Valanciunas reads the play and snuffs it out. That's the kind of defense you need from the 5 spot.
Timely passing leads to assists, and that's been the recipe for success.
And Marc Gasol, a force on both ends of the floor. You forget, Greg, that he's won a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, Gasol doesn't really wow you on defense with what he does. I mean, he gets blocks, but it's really his positioning and his rotations are what make him so great. Always involved in plays, and he just seems to be able to protect the rim and a terrific team defender. An open jump shot there, and their D not putting up any resistance.
And Dallas calls their first time out of the game. Doris, when you view international basketball, 13 and 14-year-olds playing in academies, some players turning pro overseas at 16, would something like that work in this country?
You know what, Kevin? I'm not necessarily for something like this. What I do believe is the NBA could become more involved across the board, and we should have more uniformity in basketball in general. And I think one of the ways to do that is to make sure we set up some sort of basketball committee across the different levels of basketball, starting with youth, going to high school, into college, then the semi-professional sort of basketball leagues out there, or the formative leagues like the G League, and then the NBA. I think we just need to look at the game in its totality and create some measure of uniformity. But frankly, I don't love the idea of 13 and 14-year-olds leaving their home to go to, quote, sport academies.
Can they get it? Moutier, no good.
And they just tried everything to stem the tide here, but nothing seems to work.
Greg, I think this other team is just in the zone right now. They're clicking on the offensive end, and the defense starting to look frustrated.
59 seconds left in the first half. Here's Whiteside. He doesn't hit that one. Good D by Gasol. The Cavaliers leading by 15. Poked away. And wrestling for it there, but no one has possession. We'll have a jump ball. So it's the Cavaliers now. Bazemore against Young.
Maybe not that time, but he'll hit more than his share if he's left open.
Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time taking the lid off.
Bazemore against Young. 6 to shoot. George dishes to Markkanen. Moutier finally gets one to fall. He's now 1 for 5 with his first make.
And in dropping that one, he stops a 13-0 run by the Cavaliers.
Young passes to Gasol. The dish to Valanciunas. And it's Valanciunas finishing it off.
Well, Kevin, to steal a line from you, up high and down hard, Jonas Valanciunas. Go ahead, big fella.
And that does it for the first half. Thanks so much, Dave, for the great interview. Don't go away, folks. We'll be back for the second.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello for the Cavaliers. Kenny, some perspective, please.
Well, shooters were popping open right and left. Exceptional ball movement. Guys racing off screens, spotting up, knocking down shots. That's the way you play basketball unselfishly, and it was superb.
And now with the second half.
And as we dive into the second half, we'll find out if the next 2 quarters are any different from the first 2. So far, it has been a runaway. It's been one outstanding game from Trae Young.
I mean, he was prolific in that first half. You know it's coming, but it's just so tough to stop.
And this is what he does, right, Greg? He's out there to score the basketball, and throughout that first half, he dominated.
Here's who Rick Carlisle is starting the second half with. Emmanuel Moutier out there with Kent Bazemore. Then it's Paul George. Then there's Markkanen. And it's Whiteside in at the 5 spot.
And Lauri Markkanen, a 7-footer who can really let it fly. At Arizona, the most three-pointers ever by a 7-footer in a single season.
Mavericks trail by 13. Bazemore, no one around him. The shot's good on the assist by George. Bazemore's got 6 points.
Don't you love it when you've got a small forward who can pass the basketball just like Paul George did there? Makes it look easy.
Back to Young. Pass to Valanciunas. It's good. And Markkanen also setting records for 3-pointers made by a rookie Greg.
A quick release. The ball comes off his hands so effortlessly. He's more than a stretch big as well. I think he's a shooter who just happens to be 7 feet tall.
And the Mavericks call time here. Without question, Trae Young displaying his skills today.
Well, I think this is a necessary timeout so they can figure out a way to limit the impact this guy's having from 3-point range. They've got to dedicate more resources to their perimeter D.
Moutier kicks to Markkanen. Dallas needs to get off a shot. The shot by George, no good.
Boy, he has been cold for a while now.
Yeah, starting to look like it's taking its toll mentally. He doesn't look like himself.
Bazemore against Young. He dishes it to Gasol, and he uses the glass on the layup. 9 points in the game so far.
And that's the advantage of having a lead guard who can both pass and shoot. Young draws attention, then takes advantage of a poor rotation defensively.
Moutier finds George. Here is Whiteside, guarded by Valanciunas. Whistle blows, bucket is good, and he'll have a chance at the line to make it a 3-point play.
And that's what the pump fake's there for. Get your man off his feet and drive right around it.
The Mavericks shooting their first free throw of the night here.
And how about as a group, 80% on the season, one of their best attributes.
Ball, the pass to Thompson. That falls. Nice feed that time from Ball. Ball's got his 7th assist of the game with that last one. Now here's Moutier. He's covered by Ball. Got a piece of it. Moutier kicks it to Bazemore. Kicks it out to Markkanen. Again, the Mavericks score.
And I tell you what, Markkanen has already mastered the art of the bank shot. Loves getting it up there and knocking that one down. You have got to be in his space if you want to disrupt his rhythm.
Bounce pass from Valanciunas. Shot from 12. No good from Gasol. Mavericks trail by 12. Pass to Moutier. Right side trying to break free. Moutier, no good. It's Young on the wing. He's covered by Bazemore. And Valanciunas kicks to Young. Good on the triple.
Boy, that play developed just the way they wanted, and Valanciunas made sure they got the bucket. What a tremendous pass.
To the middle. Here's Markkanen. Great pass to set up the lay-in. Markkanen's got 9.
And they're showing much more focus here in the second half. More effort as well. And their offense starting to show signs of life.
12 seconds left in the third. To the paint. Gasol passes the ball. Over Moutier. Here's Thompson. Can't connect.
Well, you love to see Emmanuel Moutier put that kind of effort into the defense.
And so it's the home team looking at a 13-point lead heading into the next quarter. The defensive work they've done against Paul George has been a big factor. He hasn't done anywhere near the kind of damage we expected. Back to the action after this word. And now let's go back to a play from earlier as we show you our State Farm assist of the game.
And the definition of teamwork right there, guys. I mean, what great communication between them, and what a beautiful feed.
And, Greg, nothing better than chemistry, right? Working together to create a bucket.
And with the fourth quarter upon us, time is running out for this game to become competitive. We've got Lonzo Ball. Tristan Thompson is out there with Marc Gasol. And it's Young, and it's Valanciunas in at the 5. Got a piece of it, and the ball travels out of bounds. It was last touched by George. So much of being a scorer is finding ways to get open without the ball, Doris, and there are a lot of guys that do that very well in the league right now.
Well, you think back to guys like Ray Allen, who have retired in the last 5 to 6 years. He was one of the all-time bests. You think back to the Detroit Pistons teams and Rip Hamilton. They set the stage for today's generation. Guys like Klay Thompson and Kyle Korver, who are relentless in their motion and sometimes do it randomly. Outside of the context of the offense, they're just, because they've done it so often, the kind of movement they create puts tremendous stress on your defense.
Just over a minute played here in the fourth. Young against Bazemore. In the corner, it's Whiteside. Now here's Bazemore. He's tightly guarded. Moutier, no good. And so Gasol will bring it up for the Cavaliers. The biggest lead of the game, 15 points.
Well, doesn't allow himself to be rattled in the least by the aggressive defense. Jonas Valanciunas shows his strength and composure to power up and through.
Mavericks trail by 12. And the Mavericks call time here. And with the fourth quarter push coming up here, the coach going over the game plan and these players rehydrating themselves with Gatorade, recharging their bodies, refocusing their minds, and getting that strategy down to close out the game. On the sideline, let's catch up with Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Well, during that last break, Kevin, I got a chance to hear Rick Carlisle's message to his team. He said, guys, I know you've worked hard. I know you're a little tired, but you got to dig deep right now and find a way. Take a deep breath, and let's get it done. Kevin, we'll see how they respond.
Young taking his time here. Gasol's in the post, defended by George. And Gasol gets it to go.
Another solid game from this guy shooting the basketball, just adding to this lead. So hard to defend.
Here's George. And he wills that one in, sinking right through off the back iron.
Just incredible concentration. When Paul George is going strong inside, it doesn't matter what he's got to overcome.
They get a hand on it. And the foul called on Hassan Whiteside. That'll be his second foul of the game. Just a little under 2.5 minutes have passed now here in the fourth. Young outside. Mavericks trail by 10. Bazemore passes to Markkanen. He kicks it to Moutier. The shot by George, wide open. That one a little long.
Boy, with that much space around him, maybe he's better off attacking the basket than settling for the jumper.
Young outside. Shoots over Bazemore. Young's shot is off. The Mavericks have gotten 4 of their 6 shots to fall so far here in the fourth. A pretty nice efficiency there. It's good.
Excellent offensive positioning from Paul George. Size, length, touch. Beautiful.
Guys, you've got to think a basket here would seal.
No question. That would be all she wrote.
Thompson outside. Back to Ball. Young in the corner. A three-pointer is right on target.
Up by double digits, little time remaining. Way to defend your house.
Well, this is what you call taking care of your business, showing dominance on their home floor. What an excellent effort.
And here is Gasol. 5 seconds separating the shot and game clocks. Valanciunas against Whiteside. Now here's Ball. He's guarded closely. Shot clock at 2. Gasol. It's rebounded by Dallas. Moutier looking around. We see the Cavaliers get the win here. Even early on in this one, it seemed like they were happy to be playing at home tonight. David, thank you as always. Well, folks, that's going to do it for now.
What I'm worth, I got 84s poking out at the club. I'm showing out. I'm a